Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. It's a fundamental principle of human behavior. At the heart of this pleasure-seeking drive lies dopamine, a neurotransmitter often called the motivation molecule. Dopamine surges when we engage in activities we find enjoyable, creating feelings of reward and satisfaction. Think about the rush you get from a delicious meal, a social media notification, or the thrill of winning a game. These experiences trigger a flood of dopamine, reinforcing the behavior and making you want to repeat it. Dopamine is essential for motivation, pushing us to learn, grow, and achieve our goals. However, the modern world is saturated with quick dopamine hits. From smartphones to streaming services, we're constantly bombarded with stimuli designed to grab our attention and trigger those feel-good chemicals. This constant influx of dopamine can have unintended consequences on our ability to focus, stay motivated, and find joy in the things that truly matter. Just as our bodies can build tolerance to substances like caffeine or sugar, our brains can become desensitized to dopamine. When we're constantly exposed to high levels of stimulation, our dopamine receptors become less responsive, requiring even greater stimulation to achieve the same level of pleasure. This phenomenon, known as dopamine tolerance, can lead to a vicious cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. Activities that once brought joy, like reading a book or spending time in nature, may now seem boring or unappealing compared to the instant gratification of scrolling through social media or playing video games. This shift in our reward system can make it challenging to engage in tasks that are essential for long-term well-being but offer lower dopamine rewards. Procrastination, lack of focus, and difficulty delaying gratification are all hallmarks of dopamine overload. We may find ourselves constantly seeking the next dopamine hit, even at the expense of our responsibilities and goals. Breaking free from this cycle requires a conscious effort to reset our dopamine system and regain control over our impulses. A dopamine detox is not about eliminating pleasure from your life. Instead, it's a strategic approach to regain control over your dopamine response and rediscover the joy in simpler things. By temporarily abstaining from highly stimulating activities, you give your brain a chance to recalibrate and become more sensitive to the natural rewards of everyday life. Imagine giving your taste buds a break from processed foods filled with sugar, salt, and artificial flavors. After a period of clean eating, you begin to appreciate the subtle flavors of whole, unprocessed foods. A dopamine detox works similarly, allowing you to savor the simple pleasures that were once drowned out by the constant noise of digital stimulation. While the idea of a dopamine detox may seem daunting, it's important to start with small, manageable steps. Begin by identifying the activities that trigger the strongest dopamine response for you. These might include social media, video games, junk food, or excessive shopping. Section 4. Finding the sweet spot, balancing pleasure and productivity. Dopamine is not inherently bad. In fact, it's essential for motivation, learning, and creativity. The key is to find a balance between enjoying dopamine-inducing activities and engaging in behaviors that support your long-term well-being. Instead of letting high dopamine activities dominate your day, use them strategically as rewards for completing challenging tasks or as occasional treats to look forward to. For example, after finishing a challenging work assignment, reward yourself with a short break to browse social media or listen to your favorite music. This approach allows you to harness the power of dopamine to boost your productivity while avoiding the pitfalls of excessive stimulation. Section 5. Practical steps for a successful dopamine detox. A full dopamine detox involves abstaining from all highly stimulating activities for a set period, typically a day or a weekend. This might include disconnecting from the internet, avoiding screens, and engaging in low-stimulation activities like reading, spending time in nature, or pursuing a hobby. While a full detox can be highly effective, it's not always practical or sustainable. A more gradual approach is to choose one day a week to abstain from a specific high dopamine behavior. For example, you might decide to have a social media-free Sunday or a no-screen evening routine. The key is to find a detox schedule that works for you and gradually increase the duration or intensity over time. Remember, progress, not perfection, is the goal. Section 6. Reclaiming your focus. Long-term benefits of dopamine control. By taking control of your dopamine levels, you can break free from the cycle of instant gratification and rediscover the joy in simpler, more meaningful activities. you'll likely find that you're able to focus better, procrastinate less, and experience greater fulfillment in your daily life. As you become more mindful of your dopamine intake, you'll also develop a stronger understanding of what truly motivates you. This awareness will empower you to make choices that align with your values and support your long-term goals rather than simply reacting to the fleeting allure of the next dopamine hit.